those kids were sitting there taking my control. I didn't bring a gust lock. I was supposed to, but I forgot. So they're banging my controls around. I got control surfaces moving all over the airplane. And then the kid will, to get out of there, to stand up, they'll pull back on the yoke and like put all their weight to stand up. And I was like, oh, damn it, don't do that. I looked away for 3 seconds and looked back, and I had my rotating beacon was on. Somebody turned on the master. Halfway started the damn airplane. Oh my god. So terrible. I will never do it. Now, I'll go to the Indianapolis Air Show and do the exact same thing and never have that problem. Only in Louisville. So anyway, finally get that to stop, sanction the airplane off. We're just sitting there with the airplanes, and then here comes all the dumbass questions. And I'm talking dumbass questions. Some woman walks up, some other woman, is this a real airplane? I said, yeah, it's a real airplane.
Oh my god.
Does it fly? I'm like, yeah, it flies. We just flew it here, actually. We're from Evansville. I'm like, oh. Were you scared? And I'm like, yes, I was frightened, and I almost shit my pants. And she didn't get that joke at all. She's like, oh, I'm sorry.
You're rude.
And just dumb questions. People are just... I had some big family, they reeked of weed and wanting to take pictures with us in front of the airplane. I'm like, oh, okay. Just the media, is taking pictures, and that's one of my buddies, like, what's that guy's name up there? Who's the pilot up there? And my buddy told this reporter, and she's just like, well, what is his like title or something? Expecting to be like some sort of military title or something, I guess. All right, and he was just like, Mister. And she's like, okay. Just kind of walked away.
Is that like the Navy, Mister?
Yeah. and then I sat there and I had this little boy walk up, and we had some photo cards that I had of the airplane, and we would give them to the kids or whatever. And he came up and got one, and he kind of walked away and came back. He's like, oh, can I have one for my brother? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I gave him another one. And he kind of walked a couple steps, then came back again. He's like, well, can I have one for my sister? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I was about to hand him the third one there, and his mom walks up and says, oh, his sister doesn't need one. She's in college, and she's not here, and blah, 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 and everything.
Did you write your name and number on the back of that one?
The mom said, but you can write your number on there, and I'll have her call you. And I was just like...
Okay.
We were apparently the epitome of cool, that parents wanting us to date their children. That was new for me. Now, see, the mom was decently hot. Okay, so I guess her child would have been decently hot too. So maybe it was a good deal. I just laughed it off, and it didn't happen. But
that
okay,
that's what you just said is funny.
After your story, Crow, now I remember why I never took any of my airplanes to an air show.
Well, we got there, and there were these guys from on the field showed up, and they had a Lancer and a small Pitts S1 that was like beautiful, and made my plane look like a beater. And they pulled them there. They had them roped off, and they didn't stay more than a half hour. The crowds were just, even though their airplanes were roped off, they couldn't touch them. They just got too. I mean, that's their babies, and they pulled out and went home. So I've only at this preview party is when I've ever had that happen. I've been to various other air shows where I've staticed the airplane, and I can sit there and leave it for 2 days, and I'll know the thing will be fine. I've done that before on the ramp. I'll go and check on it every once in a while, make sure no one's like, because I've heard of bad stories about like shoving cheeseburgers into the
Oh yeah.
Whatever,
French fries on the upholstery all over the place. Oh yeah. Greasy fingers smearing shabby clothes.
Yeah, it's but only that event. I'm going to go back because the stories I brought back from that were funny enough to go get some more.
Oh, maybe your daughter will be there this time.
Maybe, man, get hooked up this time.
Yeah,
but
we're
going to go. But we're not.
Man out of Crow.
We're going to have those airplanes sanctioned off. I want like an armed guard with an M16 and and we'll answer the dumb questions because those are actually fun to answer. But I am not letting anybody touch that airplane because last time that got way too out of hand and.
That's my baby. You ain't touching it.
Mm-hmm.
that went beyond my comfort level, and I tell you what, when I pulled that thing out, I pulled the thing out, and I got one of the event guys. I was like, "Hey, we're gonna leave here soon." I mean, people were already dying down, so it wasn't a big deal. I'm gonna pull out. We got tow bars. I can just pull it. Okay. He's like, "Oh, this is my son Jeffrey. He wants to go look at the airplane." I was just like, "We want to leave, goddammit." And I was just like, "Okay." So I had to walk this kid back there to go sit in the airplane for like 10 seconds. I'm just like, "Get out! I want to go home."
Yep.
And then I finally get the airplane out of there, and I pre-flight it like 5 times, because, I mean, you go and do like the full pre-flight. You're looking to make sure the hinges are still there. You're making sure, you're not doing a rushed pre-flight. You really pay attention to it. Finally got it and flew home at night and moved on. I mean, we even had military pilots. There was a C-130 pilot showed up there, and he was just like, "Do you guys have to file IFR at night?" I'm like, "Nope." He's like, "Oh, that sucks. We have to." Okay.
Yeah, that's what you get for a college degree, bud.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh. I had one.
I always used to have guys coming up to me whenever I'd land my my Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like, and this was not a nice style. This was an old Navy beater.
Big old fat airplane.
Yeah, I got for a prayer and a wing, and they'd always come up to me and they saying, "Oh man, I would love so much to fly that thing." And I'd look at them and shake my head and say, "No, you wouldn't." That thing will beat you to death.
It will beat you to death, take your house, and
rape your wife.
You feel sore every time you get on that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the seats
you feel
were
sore
like,
in your posterior.
The seats were like an old 1948 beater that's been in the barn for 30 years, All the paint was scraped off and everything. You wouldn't believe the amount of money I was asked for that airplane. Holy mackerel.
No, really.
I said, "For this thing? Really?" I finally gave up and I sold it. I said, "Yeah, hell yeah." $57,000.
Yeah, back then, it's pretty good.
That was good money
That's
back then.
pretty good money for that.
Good for a beater, definitely.
Yeah.
For a Ventura, yeah.
Trouble was,
awesome.
I didn't know that was going to be the last airplane I ever owned.
So, kind of in hindsight, you wish you hadn't done it.
Had a question once asked if I've ever flown into a tornado. No.
Not on purpose.
Not on purpose.
It's like that's some pretty dangerous stuff. So
It is fun, and you'll occasionally get people who actually ask some decent questions. You're just like, that even stumble you. You're like, I don't even know. They'll ask me some random engine question. You're like, dude, I just sit here and I pull up and the airplane goes up. I push down, the airplane goes down. If it don't do that, I complain to somebody.
I had some kid. Channel. They were having some Civil Air Patrol thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. And it was at the airport that I happened to be parked at, in Oswego County Airport.
Yeah.
And I had some kid come up to me and says,
"User disconnected from your channel.
What's your head pressure when you're flying full throttle?" I looked at him and I said,
"Got me."
Usually I have aspirin for that.
That's awesome.
That's a good answer.
I was flabbered, absolutely grounded. And this guy wasn't even a member of the Civil Air Patrol. He's just some 13-year-old kid. So much like some of the guys around here, you know.
Like just getting that one of those questions that even flabbergast you. It's just like,
yeah, really.
Like, yeah, I usually have aspirin for that. That's got to be a good answer. I must admit.
It was just like,
I can imagine that there's people that do the same thing at these like antique and custom car shows. I can imagine it's no different. I'd have to ask my dad's boss if he gets crazy questions at car shows, which I'm pretty sure he does.
well, actually, it wasn't a crazy question. It was a pretty well-informed question. The trouble is, I had no answer.
You had an answer, but you just didn't have the one I think he was looking for.
Yeah, he kind of looked at me like I was stupid and walked away.
Yeah,
Which is good for the both of us.
yeah. Like he got an answer, and you got that off your chest, pretty much. When you said I usually have aspirin for that, I had to. That was the. That just sealed it.
I like taking the airplanes to air shows mainly because it's just, of course, they treat us nicely and it's a nice weekend to go do something and it's an excuse to go fly. 2, it is kind of fun to answer the dumb questions people ask. And I remember being a little kid and meeting with the pilots. I mean, that can be a life changer for somebody, in the aviation world. So,
yeah,
if I ever get along and finally find some kid who'll find me, 50 years from now and be like, hey, I met you at an air show once and I'm now a pilot. That's
cool.
That's awesome.
Is cool.
I'll be right back. I've got to go deal with our little pain in the ass of a cat.
Okay.
Typically, cats aren't a pain in the ass. Typically, cats stay away from you.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is why I don't have cats.
Speaking of pain in the ass, wow, they're going to get married, are they?
I don't even.
They've been carrying that joke on for so long. Maybe they come to believe it themselves.
Maybe.
Oh well.
Yeah.
If I had a clue what you guys were talking about, I'd probably laugh as well.
Whatever lifts your wing.
Usually.
I saw that posted, and I was just like,
this has to be something to do with headquarters.
But then it
has to be something on headquarters at least.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll just if it's more convenient for you two, I'll just stay clueless.
No, it's okay. It's about Vandal and JR's love affair. They're going to get married.
Legit?
In England.
Is this legit?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, if this is legit, what kind of drunken... It's like, how drunk could JR get in order to do this?
I don't know. JR can get pretty damn drunk.
I think we've all seen video of Flake being drunk. So if that's any kind of measurement, if it's worse than that, oh dear God! It's like they must have had a really good drunk conversation one night to cook this plan up.
This has been ongoing for quite a while, Ace. Quite a while.
Well, it's not really my business.
It's not a real thing, man. It's not a real thing.
I was about to say, good God.
Unless something's changed that I don't know about, it ain't a real thing.
So basically, they just put that on there for the lulz, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, oh dear God, what the hell? I mean,
Don't you remember they're part of the major troll brigade?
I remember that, but I was just like, okay, not sure if being honest or just pulling everybody's leg.
I'll be back
Number
with you guys
2. Ew.
Well, the option number 2, it's not really any of my business to tell someone they can't do that, and it it doesn't bother me in the least, as long as they're not trying to hit on me.
I think Vandal was just pointing out that on that particular day, England had changed their viewpoint on gay marriage and made it legal.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think that's probably going to be the big controversial issue.
It's going to be a little. It's going to be a little too late anyway. You know what? Whatever floats their boat, man. I don't care less.
User entered your channel.
That's me. If whatever floats your boat, just don't try to be hitting on me. You know?
Okay, I'm back on my PC.